have so much to talk about tonight. The Olympics has big dick energy. Conservatives are finally interested in women's sports, and RFK Jr. just lost his endorsement from Smokey Bear. Let's get into the headlines. Let's kick things off with the Olympics, a gathering of the world's greatest athletes and also some people who own horses. Now, I've been super interested in these Olympics, mostly because I bet my daughter's college tuition on mixed doubles badminton. But it's fine. She's not really an academic kid, to be honest with you. So far, it's been incredible. Now, not the badminton, that's a stupid sport, but the real sports, like the men's 100 meters finals were on Sunday, where American Noah Lyles got the gold medal by 5 thousandths of a second. Yeah. Do you realize how little time that is? That's 5 thousandths of a second. I just said it. Pay attention. This was the closest finish in over 40 years. And I don't want to take anything away from Noah Lyles, but isn't this a tie? I mean, what do we even have ties for if we're not going to pull it out for stuff like this? I mean, in fact, if you were watching this with just your eyes, all these guys finished at the same time. If these guys were trains, no one would say, my train was late, right? Another Olympic moment getting a lot of attention is the pole vaulter who knocked the bar over with his large penis. Now, if you haven't heard about this story, do not Google penis Olympics. That'll take you to the wrong website. What can I say? I like to do my own research. But you also don't really need to Google it, because that's the whole story. A pole vaulter lost when his giant schlong got caught on the crossbar. And according to the rules of pole vaulting, you're allowed to touch the crossbar, but you're not allowed to it, so he lost. But this has got to be the best possible way to lose, you know? Yeah, I would have won if it weren't for this damn massive hog. In fact, this is the only event where the guy who won probably felt bad. Like, hey, you know, my dick is good too. I will say, next Olympics, this guy should compete in the 100 meters. He'd win from 10 feet back. Well, look. Oh, everyone loves a good pole vaulting dick joke. But look, to this athlete, and I know this is tough, but I'll say to you what I say to the Little League team I coach. It's not whether you win or lose. It's how gigantic everyone knows your penis is. But the biggest story so far is about Algerian boxer Iman Khalif, who's been doing a great job in the women's boxing tournament. Some people would say too good.
Some critics questioning whether Khalif should have been allowed to compete in that ring at all, and claiming that Khalif is a man or transgender, something IOC officials have emphatically denied.
The Algerian boxer was born female, was registered female, lived her life as a female, boxed as a female, has a female passport. This is not a transgender case.
Seems pretty open and shut to me, right? She was born a woman, lives as a woman, and boxes other women. So what is the argument against that?
This is such an outrage. Look at this. This is a man. This is a man who is competing in the boxing tournament for women.
No, she's not. She's a woman. She's a woman like you, Megyn Kelly, a woman at the peak of her career, unlike Megyn Kelly, but she still is a woman.
You easily could just say, listen, you can only fight and compete in the gender in which you were born. Those are just the rules. End of story. End it.
Okay, but those rules would still let her box with women because, again, she's a woman. She's fought as a woman her whole life. She's even lost to other female boxers 9 times. What more proof do you want? Does Fox News need the ghost of Roger Ailes to sexually harass her first? She's a woman.
Okay, looks like a duck, quacks like a duck, walks like a duck, and punches like a duck. I think it's a duck.
All right, well, look, so she's not a duck, okay? She's a woman. You're not making me question whether I know what a woman is. You're making me question whether you know what a duck is. Because, again, this female boxer is female. Can we stop this before America turns it into a presidential campaign issue?
The far left wants to allow biological males to beat the living crap out of women in boxing.
Is that really what this race is going to be about? J.D. Vance is going to be out on the campaign trail like, you know, when I was growing up in the holler, the one thing we cared about was international women's boxing regulations. By the way, if conservatives are so concerned with women's safety, maybe consider caring about it outside of sports. There are women in America who are like, help me, I'm having an ectopic pregnancy. And conservatives are like, shut up, we're trying to protect women over here. Look, guys, I'm sorry this elite athlete does not look the way you think a woman should look. But a woman is allowed to be dominating and powerful at a sport without you questioning her gender. Because don't forget, these guys dragged her, an Algerian female boxer, into their American conservative culture war. And if they're going to use her as a metaphorical punching bag, the least they can do is step into the ring and let her use them as a literal punching bag. I bet they wouldn't even last a round. All right, let's move on to the presidential race. Kamala Harris is set to announce her running mate at any moment. And to balance out the ticket, it'll most likely be a white guy like Josh Shapiro, Tim Walz, or the pole vaulter dude with the penis. But let's put that beast to use, breaking the glass ceiling. You guys love a pole vault dick joke, huh? Yeah. Meanwhile, Donald Trump has backed out of the September debate he had previously agreed on and is now saying he'll only debate Kamala if it's in a packed arena moderated by Fox News. Also, at any point in the debate, he gets to call the cops on her for loitering. Also, it's not a debate, it's golf. But look, I'm actually sympathetic to Trump. Don't forget, he agreed to this debate against Joe Biden. If I agreed to wrestle an old man and then at the last second he taps in a younger opponent whose knees actually work, I might also object. But look, wrangling over a debate, choosing a VP candidate, these are our normal campaign stories. And since this race has already been so crazy, with Trump getting shot, Biden dropping out, J.D. Vance being J.D. Vance, I'm just glad that we finally have a normal presidential race with normal presidential stories. Right?
Breaking overnight, RFK Jr. confesses to leaving a dead bear cub in Central Park. Why, he said he did not have the time to skin and eat it.
What? What? I don't know what's worse, that RFK Jr. dumped a dead bear cub in Central Park, or that he said he only did it because he didn't have time to eat it. Let me just back up here. This happened back in 2014, and I remember when they found that dead bear, because you find dead bodies in Central Park all the time, but they're usually tourists, so nobody cares. But a bear, now that's memorable.
A decade ago, a Central Park mystery baffled New Yorkers, captured headlines across the country.
Police now want to know how the bear died and how it got into the park.
Now we know. Robert F. Kennedy Jr., the independent presidential candidate, says he brought the dead bear to Central Park. In the videotaped confession, Kennedy recounts the strange tale to controversial comedian Roseanne Barr.
Okay. I'm sorry, he's admitting this to Roseanne Barr? In a kitchen over a plate of Flintstone ribs? I mean, what has happened? Does he think it'll sound more normal if he's telling it to a crazy person? You know what? Let's not judge him too fast. Let's hear him tell Roseanne Barr how he ended up dumping a dead bear cub in Central Park.
I was taking a group of people falconing up in Goshen, New York, up in the Hudson Valley.
Great start. I was out falconing with my friends. So far, very relatable story.
And a woman in a van in front of me hit a bear and killed it, a young bear. So I pulled over and I picked up the bear and put him in the back of my van because I was going to skin the bear. And it was very good condition, and I was going to put the meat in my refrigerator. And you can do that in New York State. You can get a bear tag for a roadkill bear.
Oh, yeah. You saw Paddington get T-boned, and your first thought was, pause the falconing. We got to get that bear in this car to skin and eat it, which for some reason I know is legal in this state. Yeah, that tracks. That tracks. Sorry, keep going.
We had a really good day, and we went late. We were catching a lot of game, and instead of going back to my home in Westchester, I had to go right to the city because there was a dinner at Peter Luger's Steakhouse.
Okay. Yeah, all right, let's just do a quick recap, all right? He already spent all day hunting game with falcons. He's on his way to eat a steak, which is a dead cow. But on the way, he had to stop and pick up a dead bear. And this is the environmental candidate? Oh, and by the way, Peter Luger's Steakhouse, it's a fancy steakhouse. It's not a place where people pull up to the valet with the bear cubs hanging out of the back seat. Hey, here's the keys. Don't steal the rotting bear. I'm going to eat that.
And at the end of the dinner, it went late, and I realized I couldn't go home. I had to go to the airport. And the bear was in my car, and I didn't want to leave the bear in the car because that would have been bad.
Yeah. Right. I mean, you wouldn't want your car to smell like rotting bear. Then people might think you're a sociopath, you know? That still doesn't explain why he dumped it in Central Park.
There'd been a series of bicycle accidents in New York. They had just put in the bike lanes, and a couple of people had gotten killed, and it was every day, and people had gotten badly injured. Every day it was in the press. And I said, I had an old bike in my car that somebody had asked me to get rid of it. I said, let's go put the bear in Central Park, and we'll make it look like he got hit by a bike. It'll funny for people.
I get it. You were making a joke about all the people killed by bicycles. Roseanne gets it, don't you, Roseanne? Can you imagine how weird you have to be for Roseanne to look at you like you're crazy? Honestly, I feel bad for her. She probably thought she was doing a cameo on The Bear. None of this story makes sense. If he was late to the airport, you don't drive into the heart of Manhattan to dump a dead bear. You dump it in the East River. Or you just bring it on the airplane. You call it your emotional support bear carcass. They'll let it on. Look, I will say this. I am one of those people who hates the two-party system. But if this is the candidate of the third party, I say screw it. Let's just have a king. For more on this extremely strange story, let's go out to RFK headquarters with Desi Lydic. Desi, this is a really disturbing story RFK told.
Well, actually, Kosta, the campaign is feeling quite confident about how RFK handled this potential PR crisis. It's like he saw a story by the side of the road and said, I can make a meal out of this.
Okay, so RFK thinks that filming that video with Roseanne Barr was a good thing?
Oh, absolutely. By telling the story to a comedian, he transformed it from disturbing story to funny anecdote. And word is he's sticking with that strategy going forward. In fact, I'm hearing that he just confessed that he was the diarrhea guy who did diarrhea on that diarrhea plane.
Wait, that plane last year that landed because a guy had diarrhea all over the aisle, RFK was that guy?
That's right. That's right. He just sat down in Rob Schneider's garage to tell him this story. See, he was falconing along the Hudson when he found a bunch of loose deli meats by the river, and he was going to throw it out, but he was running late, so he just ate all of it, jumped on the plane, and the rest is history. You know, a lot of people would be embarrassed, but RFK is just putting it all out there, just like he did on that plane.
You know, this is a lot for the American people to process right after the bear thing.
I know, but just wait until they hear about how he caused the BP oil spill in 2010.
Deepwater Horizon, he caused that.
Calm down. He just finished explaining it in Adam Carolla's gazebo. It's a funny story. See, what happened was RFK was flamingoing upstate, and then he came across a lion giving birth. He wanted to collect the placenta in mason jars for smoothies, but he had a train to catch in 6.5 minutes, so...
Desi, what are you even talking about? These aren't cute, charming stories. They're bizarre and creepy.
Oh, well, you are not going to like the Twitch live stream he did from Carrot Top's tomato garden.
Oh, my God. What did he even talk about?
Oh, this one's real fun. See, what happened was RFK was swan tipping upstate. He worked up quite the appetite because those swans don't go down without a fight. So he scoured the local highway for food, but sadly, nothing adorable had been hit by a car. Then he realized he was already on a flight to Wuhan, where he then went to a wet market with no shoes on.
Desi, are you telling me RFK started the COVID pandemic by going barefoot in a wet market?
Well, when you put it that way, it's much less funny. I mean, you're no Roseanne.
Desi Lydic, everyone.